Hey, I'd like to welcome you to another episode of Mission Matters. My name is Adam Torres, and if you'd like to apply to be a guest in the show, just head on over to missionmatters.com and click on Be Our Guest to Apply. All right, so today's guest is Chris Papin, and he's founder of Papin CPA and Papin Law. Chris, welcome to the show.
Thanks for having me. I'm looking forward to a fun conversation today.
As am I. And for everybody that's watching this live, obviously it's the day after Christmas. Feeling good, feeling like we're ready to get this started and really end the new year with a bang. It's been a great year for us at Mission Matters and for our guests as well, many of our guests as well. So Chris, just to get us kicked off, we'll start this episode the way that we start them all with what we like to call our Mission Matters Minute. So Chris, at Mission Matters, our aim and our goal is to amplify stories for entrepreneurs, executives, and experts. That's our mission. Chris, what mission matters to you?
So for us, we're focused on kind of a value statement of respect, integrity, and accountability. And this is in representing our clients. This is for my team. This is for the firm as a whole. But I found over the years that if we will align ourselves with others to achieve their goals, it puts us in a place to be successful as well. So we do that. Everybody has to have respect. Everybody has to be accountable to the different tasks, but everybody's got to have some integrity. If you can't tell the truth to your professional advisors, who are you going to tell it to?
It's great, Chris. Well, great having you on the show. Love bringing mission-based individuals on to share, why they do what they do, so we can all learn and grow together. So again, great having you on. And I got to start with this title, like not all rainbows and unicorns. Like when you propose this title, I'm like, come on, man, really? What's the inspiration? Tell me why this is part of you.
So a piece of it is it kind of feels a little clickbaity, right? In business, rainbows and unicorns are not a thing.
Yeah.
But I think the reality for a lot of folks is, especially with social media, we tend to focus on successes. But success is the result of being knocked in the dirt and getting back up and getting knocked in the dirt and getting back up. And if you think all of those different sports analogies and pick whoever your favorite is, but I like to run with the Tom Brady Super Bowl when they're down to the Falcons. He didn't change who he was. He didn't change what he did. And we're not going to do that as business owners and business advisors. And sometimes it gets mucked up and messy. And that's where it's not all rainbows and unicorns comes from. You've got to be willing to put in that hard, difficult, nasty stuff to overcome obstacles to achieve real successes in life.
When did you get into business? Like, how did all that start for you?
So for me, I grew up in it. Mom and dad are both entrepreneurs. They happen to teach in their different professions at the local university, but I really don't know any other way. So having two small business owners, mom's kind of in mental health, education, and counseling. Dad was in automotive repair. And fast forward, I go to business school. I'm working through my accounting education. And there's kind of this distinct moment where I go to the professor and I keep asking, why do we skip these pieces of the chapters? And he's like, oh, that's legal work. That's what the attorneys are going to do. So I'm like, this is dumb.
Interesting.
Why are we going to two different places to do this? So kind of took those values that mom and dad instilled about taking care of other folks, wove them into kind of my business elements. Got to give my brother some credit in here too. He was a finance and accounting guy, so kind of influenced that value proposition for me. But at the end of the day, we solve problems for small businesses and small business owners. We have lived the transition. My father passed when we were young. We had to implement estate planning tools. We've had to live through that succession plan that is forced upon you when someone passes, where my brother stepped in and took over the family business. So in a lot of instances, a lot of the things that I preach, I've lived. And you've heard the different businesses. I've got a law firm. I've got a CPA firm. There's some other things that we do along the way. But kind of that serial entrepreneur has some truth to it. I am a small business owner. I operate in this world all the time, but I also represent folks that do it. So we pull on those
Mm.
different experiences. I may do something 100 times, whereas a client may only do it 1 or 2 during their lifetime. So
Yeah.
why not partner together and kind of relate together? Because we're all living the same journey.
Mm-hmm. What was one of your first businesses you remember? Like going back before what you're currently doing? Like what was the first one? Could be when you're younger or whenever. When was one of the first ones you remember?
So one of the first business experiences ever. I am in the building I'm in now. My brother and my dad are kind of going through the process of building the building.
Yeah.
And I think I'm on my way to like a preseason training. One of my coaches was coming by. And I remember looking around, kind of going, man, I don't see all of the vision here. I'm like, why are we jumping through all these hoops? This seems like a lot of work.
Mm.
One of those kinds of things. Well, fast forward 20, 25 years. And here I am officing in the same location where I'm going, man, it's early in the morning and I got to go to weight training. And all that stuff was off the table. But when
Yeah.
you look back, I lived it. I was part of it. That's part of that hard work you've got to do. You got to get up early and put in the work. I
Yeah.
just wanted to go to,
And now you're
soccer
sitting in the
training and go
building that,
home.
and now you're sitting in the building they built. Am I hearing that right?
You are hearing that right. And we've got another one going up, inspections any day now. So we're super excited for chapter 2 of that journey.
Mm. What was it like growing up in an entrepreneur family during like the holidays? Was a lot of business being talked about, like about around the dinner table, or like what was that like? I'm always interested.
So here's a fun story for one of the Christmas breaks. Dad had just given a final exam, and this
Mm.
was kind of like intro to automotive. Think back, this is very mechanical based.
Yeah.
And he hands across like this test that he gave to his students. And
Mm-hmm.
this is just stuff all day, every day. He had to grade a whole bunch of final exams. And of
Yeah.
course, I'm like, what are you doing? So he hands me the test. So I take it real quick. I scored the highest of the whole class. Of
Oh,
course I
come
would,
on.
because I grew up with it, right?
Yeah.
But it's moments like those where you realize if you live for what you do, it's
Mm.
different than doing what you do to live. And
Mm-hmm.
people have heard versions of that, but my dad truly enjoyed this stuff.
Mm.
Mom, in her counseling businesses, she loves people. She wants to give back to her community. So
Yeah.
yes, holidays were always interwoven with this stuff,
Yeah.
but it's a lifestyle choice for us. We enjoy it.
Yeah, that's interesting. It must be interesting now, kind of looking back and reminiscing about like those early conversations during the holidays or otherwise, and just seeing, because it's not common. So whenever I hear, especially when there's both mom and dad that are both entrepreneurs, that's when I'm like, oh, what was it like sitting around that table? Did you pick up like a lot of maybe the knowledge and things, and like was that kind of like an informal or even formal mentorship? I don't know, like working with your parents and otherwise.
It was both.
Mm.
Since mom's in mental health and counseling, she was into emojis before they were titled emojis. She
Mm.
had like happy face charts, and people have done maybe Myers-Briggs or disc profiles or
Yeah.
different things like that over the years. But she had so many of those, and of course, I hated it as a kid. Never wanted to do it. But looking forward,
Yeah.
seeing how different folks work together, seeing strengths and weaknesses,
Mm.
having understandings about just emotion, that
Mhm.
how the limbic system functions.
Mhm.
Fight or flight always triggers before logic. So when especially in the world we're in,
Yeah.
money triggers emotion. So having some of those disciplines now, I would kill for, and I'm so grateful that I have.
Mhm.
But at the time, grabbed me as like a 15-year-old kid, and I couldn't run away from it fast enough.
Like, I'm looking at emojis. What is this? I got to take another test? Come on. I don't even know what this. Let me go play ball.
Right? I like teasing about the emojis. Everybody has seen kind of those emotional charts.
Yeah.
I call it the happy face chart.
Mhm.
But somewhere in there, all of those subtle nonverbal things,
Mm.
watching dad, interact with different folks, and in some instances, maybe some not so good scenarios where somebody's frustrated,
Mm.
learning some of those customer service elements, coming
Mm.
together with people. A lot of our family friends were also customers.
Right.
Everybody says you've got to keep business and personal separate, and you kind of do. You've got to have a healthy respect
Mhm.
for both. But sometimes when you do a lot of stuff with people, they become part of your extended family. And
Yeah.
those friends are also interwoven. So I got a lot of the cliff notes of how to cheat and make that go forward.
Mm.
I talk with my hands. I don't know where that came from. We're not Italian or anything like that, as to chase those stereotypes around.
Oh
But
yeah.
somewhere in there, we learned that there's different ways to communicate. There's different ways to illustrate what's going on. My dad and my brother both like to show people what's physically wrong in a vehicle, because a phone call just doesn't do sometimes.
Yeah.
But when people can see it and understand that it's a safety hazard, they behave differently. They make decisions differently. And that's where we really want to partner with our customers. I learned it all from them. But when you partner with your people and do what's right for them, everything else takes care of itself, right?
So speaking of business and just compliance versus planning, what does that mean to you? Compliance versus planning?
So because we're at year end, the analogy that's going to come up is we will probably get in the first week of January somewhere between 50 and 75 cold calls where people are going to call and say something like, I'm ready to do my planning for 2024.
Yeah.
They're too late. If we are in 2025, we are too late. You have taken so many tools out of the toolbox. I have a Phillips head and a flat head, and that's it. I don't have a hammer. I don't have a nail. I don't have power tools. So that's the illustration of compliance, or the maintenance things, reporting what you already did.
Yeah.
It's kind of the Monday morning quarterback type stuff. Planning is that forward looking and being adaptive. And this is really where the not all rainbows and unicorns comes from. Sometimes as a business owner, you make a bad decision. That's okay. You're allowed to. You've just got to be nimble enough or have metrics to help measure that soon, so you can pivot and change and adjust. And I think that's the space that is the most valuable to people right now, is sitting down with people and helping them brainstorm, where should I be going? My experience is that business owners are very, very talented in their craft. But when it comes to the legalese or the tax or the application of the details, all of those things matter. They are not going to be the person that bangs out the purchase agreement and protects them from all the hidden liabilities in that purchase agreement. And with AI, we've got to be super careful, because people are going to go to ChatGPT and Copilots and similar tools and say, hey, send me a purchase agreement that. But did it protect you? Does it have your interests in mind? Did we align the mission of the document with the mission of the person? And that's where I think this stuff really starts to overlap. I've watched a lot of DIY deals blow up. And again, nobody talks about being at the courthouse or going through remediation or spending $400,000 that they shouldn't have spent settling an estate that a mistake was made. That's not fun stuff to talk about. So that's the space where I think we really need to spend time and focus in, because man, compliance can be tedious, but planning is key.
Talk to those 50 to 75 people that are gonna call the office randomly. Like, we're heading into year end. I always like to provide some type of tips or like some type of thought processes or tools, right, to our audience. So let's have you talk specifically to those 50 to 75 people that are gonna call in. Like, what kind of things should they be looking into as they go into 2025, so that they don't make the same mistake, and hopefully they're not doing another cold call right at the end of the year.
So I'm going to give three. Two are going to seem dumb and rudimentary, but they're by far the most popular conversations, is the way I'm going to say it. The most voluminous conversation. But the first is, did you pay your estimated taxes? Everybody I talk to wants to minimize tax, and probably about half do not make estimated tax payments as they go. So they subject themselves to unnecessary penalty and interest. I can make it cheaper, just pay it sooner. The second one is, oftentimes we don't do the little things, like putting all of our business expenses inside of our business account. We'll use, let's use this credit card over here for points. Or, I forgot to get those receipts over and make my books audit proof. Again, simple stuff, but it's neglected because it's Saturday and I got to go to soccer practice. And then, oh my gosh, it rained and now we're pushed back and practice ran into the game and I didn't get home till 9 o'clock. So I can't get to the business things. I get it. I live it too. But you've got to do those small. So those are the two easy ones. The third that I'm going to give people is you need to change your mindset. The phone call you should be making is, hey, I have 24 in front of me. If there's anything I can do for 24, I'm game.
Yeah.
But I'm invested from this point forward for a proactive plan for 25. Because I have all of the tools at my disposal to help you for 2025 rather than the wrench. Or what do we go with? The flathead and the Phillips head screwdriver?
That's what we went with, yeah.
So if I have all the tools, imagine the impact that we can make. Imagine if we have a set of financial information that can give us some sort of future-looking guess. And maybe free tip number 4. Estimates are exactly that. They're designed to be estimates, but if you don't have that expectation in mind, how are you supposed to plan? It's like getting into the car, driving to a state you've never been to. You would always use a map or maybe some form of phone maps. Get Google Maps out, follow the directions, right? But business owners don't do that with their finance. They just react and say, okay, do it all at your end and let me know how it played out. How do you know? So be proactive rather than be reactive.
Do you specialize in any type of specific industries like service-based, manufacturing, or otherwise?
Generally, I align with service-based industries first. It's kind of who I am. It's what I know. It's the core of probably 85% of our client base. But naturally, when we work with good people, my running joke is I don't represent restaurants except for the 6 restaurants that we have on our client list. So it's stuff like that where when we align with folks, we'll grow with them. But we do have a core competency inside of those service-based individuals because that's kind of the world me and my team live in. So it comes natural to us.
Amazing. Well, Chris, man, this has been a lot of fun finally getting you on the show. I've been trying to do this for a long time, and I'm glad that I got all these tips out of you as we go into year end. And hopefully for those of us that need it, have that shift in mindset. I think that was a great tool and a great tip, having a shift in mindset of just doing what you can do for now. Like what can you do in 2024? Great. But 2025, make it the best year. Like, how do you have that shift in mindset? It's a great tip. That being said, what's next? I mean, what's next for you? What's next for the business? What's next?
So one of the things that is upcoming, we are working on a book for small business owners, designed around the platform of entrepreneurship. Where do I start? What do I do? Pieces of it are going to overwhelm folks. Pieces of it are not going to be deep enough for folks, but we got to start somewhere. I would also tell people, pay attention to my LinkedIn because what's next? Well, we have an election year. So there's a lot of what's next and I have no idea what they are, but we will post them to the LinkedIn site and we will keep people up to date because I imagine we've got a lot in store and I'm really excited at the different opportunities that come with law changes.
Amazing. And how can people connect, learn more about the company and follow up?
Yeah, LinkedIn, find my name, Chris Papin on LinkedIn. You can certainly go to firm websites. PapinCPA.com is probably the easiest to navigate. Certainly papinlaw.com as well. I'm always looking to reach out to similarly minded folks. I attend different events. Sometimes I'm a speaker, sometimes I'm a participant. So if you ever see me or want to say hi, come over. I love meeting new people that are doing similar things to what we're doing today.
Amazing. And for everybody watching this, just to let you know, we'll put the links in the show notes so you can just click on the links and head right on over and check out Chris's firm. And speaking of the audience, if this is your first time with Mission Matters and you haven't done it yet, hit that subscribe or follow button. This is a daily show. Each and every day, we're putting out new content, new ideas, and hopefully new inspiration to help you along the way on your journey as well. So again, hit that subscribe or follow button. And Chris, man, wishing you a great end of the year and on into 2025, man. Appreciate you coming on.
Happy 2025. Appreciate you.